Welcome everyone to this week's video. Today we are on Fish Friday number 67 and we have an awesome one for you today. Today's fish is a fish that you've definitely seen if you've ever been to a large aquarium. It is one of the most popular species of its kind that's found in an aquarium. However, that does not mean that it is not in trouble. But something else about it is it does something that no other shark, we're just going to go ahead and say it, no other shark does in the world. Today we are going to be talking about the sand tiger shark. Kind of, so the sand tiger shark, which is also known as the spotted ragged tooth shark. Again, that's spotted ragged tooth shark. Its more common name is the sand tiger shark. However, there is a bunch of other sharks that are called sand tiger sharks, things like sand tiger shark. Its scientific name is Carcharias taurus. Again, that's Carcharias taurus. It is part of the family Odontospididae. In Odontospididae, that is the family of sand sharks. There are 3 species in 2 genera in this family. So there's not really that many species in there. There used to be. In prehistoric times there was a ton of different species of this shark. They've since gone extinct, so there's only those 3 species. This is the only species in its genus, I believe. It is a very widespread shark. It can be found in the Atlantic, Pacific, and Indian Oceans, and also in the Adriatic Sea. And it can be found anywhere from 2 feet deep all the way down to 623 feet, which is about 190 feet. So it can get pretty far down there. But in those oceans and the seas, they're really only found in coastal waters. Maybe a little off so they can get deeper, but they're really found primarily around coastal waters. But they are not found in Madagascar or New Zealand. Not sure why, but they seem to just not go to Madagascar or New Zealand. Something interesting about these sharks, though, the sand tigers in South Africa and Australia take a annual migration trip. That trip actually covers more than 1,000 kilometers, which is 620 miles. So whenever they pup or they give birth during the summer, they do that in relatively cold water. How they do that is they swim northwards towards sites where there are suitable rocks and caves. Then they mate just after winter, and then after mating they swim farther north to even warmer water where the birthing takes place. So they pup during the summer, but they're actually going to warmer water. They're living farther south and traveling north. So after in the summer they'll actually up, so that it's almost like a stair step. So they'll go, like, think they're in far South Africa, then they travel up to mate, and then they'll travel up to give birth. Then in autumn they'll actually go back south, and that's where they'll actually, let me rephrase that. So they live here, and then they mate up here, and then they grow the babies here in their bellies, and then they go back south into the cold waters to give birth. That entire round trip will actually encompass as much as 3,000 kilometers for some sharks, which is about 19 miles. It is a large shark, a rather large shark. It's not, super giant, but these can get between 2 meters, which is about 6.5 feet, 3.2, 10.5 feet. So I'm not saying these are small by any means. These aren't, these are rather large, kind of large. In terms of weight, they can weigh between 91 kilograms and 159 kilograms, which is 200 to 350 pounds. So they're actually not the heaviest shark out there. Kind of light, on the lighter side. As you can see from the pictures, they have this gray-brown back with a pale underside with a real pointy conical head. and they're usually seen with their mouth swimming partially. They just can't seem to close it. Can't seem to close it. Something else that is, if you can tell from the pictures, they do have a strongly heterocircle tail. A heterocircle tail means that it has one side is bigger than the other. This is, see in the background, it has this huge upper lobe of its caudal fin. Oh, something else to note, something just odd. They seem to have these reddish brown spots on the back half of the body, the adults do. A few here, there's more here. Kind of like liver spots in an older person. I'm not saying that's bad, I'm just saying that's kind of what you can think of when spots. It is what it is. Something interesting about the teeth, though, I know it's hard to see, but the teeth actually don't have any serrations like other sharks. Actually just a really large, smooth tooth cusp with intermediary teeth, just smaller teeth that are actually separating. Like all sharks, they will replace them as they break off. They break off. What they're doing is they're grabbing and tearing their food items, swallowing them in 3 to 4 chunks. Adults will eat something about half their length. So think about something between 3 and 5 feet, what they're going to be trying to eat. These do eat mainly fish, especially on the bottom of the ocean. They seem to be primarily a bottom-dwelling shark. But they have been known to hunt in groups when there are schools of fish. In fact, those hunting groups are actually known as shivers. Feel that shiver go down your spine? Now, something interesting about their reproduction, we're talking about it, not only did they have this incredible trip, they actually exhibit something called intrauterine cannibalism. And this is not the only shark that does this. This is actually fairly common in the shark world. What happens is when the female and the males mate, the female keeps the embryos, the smaller small sharks, the baby shark, in her uterus. And what they do is once one of the babies inside of her gets to a certain length, it will proceed to eat all of its brothers and sisters in the uterus. The reason for that, it allows the birthing, the one that is birthed is very much more competitive. It's bigger, it's healthier because it's already eaten all of its brothers and sisters in the uterus. And then the female will give birth to only that one, maybe 2, because a uterus has 2 horns. So you might have one over here and one over here. So this one might eat all the ones over here and this one over here, and then she may give birth, but usually it's between one. And then finally, once that's all done, it continues to grow, and then the female will give birth to the baby, and the baby is about 1 meter, 3.3 feet long. The fully independent offspring. It'll gestate, meaning it'll stay in the female between 8 to 12 months. Because of this, they can only give birth every 2nd or 3rd year, meaning that their overall reproductive rate less than 1 pup per year. One of the lowest reproduction rates of sharks. It is insane. In fact, the low reproduction rate, the fact that it's a very highly prized food item, and it's overfished a lot, that's what actually has significantly reduces the population size. I'm sure you've been looking at this picture and being like, hey, I feel like I've seen this in the aquariums. And that's true. It is one of the most popular sharks in aquariums because it's actually fairly docile. I know it looks bad and angry and like it can kill you, but there's actually been no human fatalities from a sand tiger shark. They're fairly docile and fairly slow moving. They can put on a burst of speed, but they're fairly docile. And so it is, while it is one of the most popular sharks in an aquariums, especially large aquariums, it's not really that. In fact, it is all borderline endangered. Now, for the interesting fact that we're going to end the video, the interesting fact is that it is the only known shark known to gulp air and store it in the stomach. What do you think on that? It's the only shark that will go up, gulp air, and store it in the stomach. Why do you do that? Well, remember how I told you these things are fairly slow moving, not the fastest sharks in the world, but they still need to eat, and they eat big things. And what they do is they're actually using that air to maintain near neutral buoyancy, which helps it to hunt motionally, super silent. Basically, they're gulping that air so that they're not having to swim to stay up, stay down. They're just kind of floating along. That's actually how they're hunting. They're just floating along, just gradually getting closer and closer. And then it's been observed that what happens close to a prey item, do a quick sideways snap to bite, get that initial hit on the prey. They're not a ram feeder, great white, even bull sharks to an extent. These are just real slow, getting close, and quick snap sideways. So, but it's really interesting in the fact that they're the only known shark that will actually go to the surface, gulp air, just store it in their stomach. And then if they need to let out a little air, they'll just let a little air out of their stomach. If not, they'll just go up and grab more. Really, really interesting. But thank you guys so much again. I really appreciate it. I hope to see you again. If I don't, please be safe. Have a great day. Please leave a like, comment, and subscribe if you do. I'd really appreciate it. I hope to see you again. Hopefully you've been enjoying the other series, Hurt Monday, where we talk about reptiles and amphibians, but this is still my favorite. But once again, take care of yourselves, take care of your loved ones.